Robert Fickler McLean, let me share my screen with you. And let me just show you. Remember I told you that I made a placemat using cards of the subjunctive. Now, you can't see this very well, I'm pretty sure. You can't see this very well. And these are this is placemats. Now, I didn't do it in black or white, I did it in color. And all of these are expressions that in the subordinate clause, that in the subordinate clause, you will need the subjunctive. All these expressions. Let me give you an example. Es estupendo que, es hora que, es igual que, es justo que, es mejor que. All of these, right? And what you're doing es difícil que, es bueno que. You're doing a couple of things. You're doing the subjunctive. Well, you're eating because you put your plate on top of this. And very good, sturdy, right? And water, I've tested this 1,000 times. I put it in water, submerged it in water. Nothing ever gets through. Very good bonding. So nothing gets through. And so what you're doing is a couple things. Number one, you're learning the subjunctive, the type of clauses that go with the subjunctive. Also, vocabulary. And because I don't have the English translation, I have one English translation, but otherwise than that, I don't have the English translation. You're learning to see Spanish on its own rather than see it as a translation of English. So this is placemats that now this I sell. The videos and everything, no. The cards, you can see the cards and you can, make copies or whatever of the cards. But this I sell, and these are placemats. I have placemats of a couple things, of subjunctives, of idiomatic expressions, of a lot of things, Okay, so let's get back. So let's continue with expressions that require the subjunctive when you have a subordinate, you have a independent clause, okay, and then you have the subordinate clause, and the subject is different in the subordinate clause than it is in the independent clause. Okay, so obligar a que, to oblige to. Oponerse a que. Now, see what you need to take notice of. Number one, the expression, what the expression means, at least in English. If you don't know the word, but also to see when it's de que, por que, a que, and just que. Pedir que, to request that. Permitir que, to allow, to. But that's how we translate in English, because sometimes in English we'll use to, sometimes we'll use that. It all depends. Preferir que, to prefer that. Prohibir que, to prevent or prohibit from. Impedir, to prevent or to prohibit. Querer que, this is the verb that I use most when I'm trying to teach the subjunctive. When I'm teaching the subjunctive and to give the type of sentences or type of expressions, querer que, want. This is when it's want, not when it's love. Desear que, to want. Ser posible que, to be possible, or you can translate it as maybe or perhaps. Ser probable que, to be probable, maybe or perhaps. Depende que, to depend on, to ensure. Contar con que, to count on. Contar con que, got to count on. And contar means to count. It means it idiomatically or metaphorically, like we do in our language, like we do in English, to count on someone. And it also means contar uno, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco, seis, siete, ocho, nueve, diez. Okay, it means both, just like in English. Pueda que plus the subjunctive of the verb. Okay, and here they have pueda, but that's only used in Latin America. In European Spanish, you don't say pueda que, you say puede que. But I heard this a lot. I can remember this one woman, her name was Tita. And she would say pueda que, and I said, why you say pueda instead of puede? And she tried to explain it to me. I didn't know what she was talking about. It's not because I didn't know the grammar, because I knew by this time I knew the grammar, but she couldn't explain it because it's her language and she just uses it because that's the way she does. You know, she didn't exactly know the grammatical reasons behind it. Okay, puede ser que, I think I did it, maybe, perhaps. Rogar que, to request or to beg. Rogar means to beg. By the way, this is irregular. A couple of these verbs are irregular. Salvar de que, to rescue or save from. Salvar de que. And when it's de que, that's how you have to, what's the word? Conjugate, you know, yo, tú, él, ella, nosotros, usted, ustedes, okay? Ser necesario que, plus the subjunctive of the verb, to be necessary that. Suplicar que, to implore, but to really, you know, almost beg. Vigilar que, plus the subjunctive of the verb to implore. Okay. Asegurarse de que, plus the subjunctive of the verb to make sure that. Asegurarse. Now, when you see that say at the in the ending, that say, that means it's a reflexive verb. It's a pronominal verb. It's a reflexive verb. So the reflexive pronouns are me, te, either lo, la, or le, nos. Now it could be los or las or les. It all depends on whether in the third person singular and the third person plural, whether it's a direct or indirect object. Incitar que, to incite, persuade, or encourage to. Okay, the last one, because I'm doing every 25. Inducir que, plus the subjunctive of the verb to incite, to persuade, to encourage, to inducir. So these are expressions that require when the subordinate clause, inducir, then subordinate clause, okay, and then the next clause, I mean the independent clause, and then the next clause, which is the subordinate clause, it must be in the subjunctive if you change the person, right? Right? Quiero que. So I want something, I want an action from you. Quiero que hables, right? So in the independent clause, I want is in the indicative, and that's one subject, and then then you have the K, and then in the subordinate clause, the subject is different. That's not always the case, but in these type of sentences, yes. Okay. All right. I already have animar que. To incite, to persuade, to encourage. Okay, so that's 26. So I did enough. All right. So you can if you looked at my other cards, you've probably seen some of these cards before, but these cards are in Word and they're in black and white. So Coralla Ficklin McLean, welcome, WYLCOME. subjunctive.com. Thank you. Subscribe or like. Stop sharing. You have a good day. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.